So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining this session of the Water School Africa, the first of this year. And we thought that it would be really good to have a recap of the year from all our partners in terms of what we have been exploring in the year that's gone, the first full year of Water School Africa, and how we tested out a few things and what really the communities responded to, what the organizations feel has worked well, and where this understanding of holding water in the landscape on the ground in different countries in Africa, where it's going, where is it at? Has something worked? Has something not worked? So what's worked well, what's not worked well? And so the session will start with our different partners who are here, each one giving a recap on where they felt Water School Africa has made some kind of an impact, or where they feel they are like wanting to take it forward based on last year's learning. The format and the sessions being co-chaired by my colleague Walter from ReScope Zambia, and and as others come in, the session will be as usual. We'll have the presentations, and then there'll be open space for questions, reflections, discussions, etc., moderated by both of us. Thank you very much for making the time, everybody. And so first up, we'll have Zachary. Zachary, are you there? And if I've got your presentation, would you like me to present it?
Well, you can put in the screen, then I can present it.
Okay. So here we go, Zachary. All yours.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I think I need to introduce myself. My name is Zachary Makanya. I'm the CEO. My name is Zachary Makanya. I'm the CEO for RIDEP. RIDEP is one of the partners of Water School Africa who have been implementing this project. It has been very, very exciting, rolling out this philosophy out there with the communities. We have seen the communities are taking it up very well. They are very excited. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to present to you what we have been doing. I have a very short presentation. And the summary of my presentation is about RIDEP. It's just one page, one slide, where I'm going to show you what we are doing. The second presentation is about the problem of not holding water. Why is it an issue? So I'm going to go with the slide number one. Maybe you can go to slide number one. Slide number two. This is about RIDEP. RIDEP is a CBO. Can you go to number? Yes. RIDEP is a community-based organization. We are working in Eastern Kenya, in Tharaka. As you can see from this photograph, we have a demonstration farm. This demonstration farm, now we have made it a water hub, an hub for making sure that water is not drained. All the water that goes into this farm is actually held. We are calling it a water hub, and it's a place where people can come and learn best practices. As you can see also, we also have a training center. You can see the training is going on there. And then we also have a dining hall. If we can move on. We can move on. Mini. So this presentation, actually this is all about Water School Africa. As you can see, the first two photographs is about Franden River. This is something that now it's happening. Let's go back again, please. It's about the Franden River. You can see this water is brown. What I'm telling people is that this brown, actually it is our soil, which is being robbed from the farms, is being robbed from the landscape. And most of the water now actually is not being held, but just disappearing. But just can you go back a minute? I want to.
Do you want me to go back to the first slide?
No. This is okay. So the effect of this, when you leave so much water going overland without it being retained on the ground, you can see the effect on these few photographs there. One of them, as you can see, two of them is about landscape is loaded. There are many gullies there. The water becomes poor. Food production, crop production is not possible at all in just a farm. The other one, as you can see, what has happened is that most of the wells, they haven't dried up. They have not dried up because there's no water. They haven't dried up because the water table has gone deeper, because most of the water is left to go overrun. And as you can see, the other picture on the right, you can see it has also increased the walk-to-walk distances by women who go to the river banks to get water from the wells. The wells are not there, so they end up walking long distances. Let's move to the next one. So what we have been doing at RIDEP is being shown in this slide. In this slide, as you can see, that we have been working for the last 1 year with other partners in WSA Africa. We have been training people, farmers, women, how to prepare their land so that most of the water goes underground. The first one, as you can see there, we use the philosophy of teaching by showing. When we teach farmers how to do it, we teach them by showing them, and then they actually do it. As you can see, the photograph there, we are talking about the side pits. We are talking about sunken bed. We are talking about digging ditches around the farm and making sure that all the water on the farm sinks to the ground. We can move on to the next one. So the effect has been very, very important. As you can see there, farmers are getting more from their farms. You can see the production. Actually, this is something that is real, because when people start using all the water goes now into the farm, the production, you can see the food production there has increased for some farmers, and farmers are very happy. They are very proud of what they have achieved through this. And this is encouraging them actually they know that this philosophy is very, very important, and they are working now to strengthen their farms. So what we did as RIDEP, we even trained 26 farmers. These 26 farmers in Daraka, they are rolling out this philosophy of increasing water to the land, and they are very, very, very excited. They are very excited about it. So to end my presentation is that really what we need to do is to listen to what is very. Let's move on to the next slide, Minnie. Yes. The other thing that RIDEP did, we are constructing a water pan, as you can see there. That is a water pan which has got an inlet. That's a water pan that also has got a spillway, so that when this water is filled in this water pan, when it is filled, then it will find a way of escaping, so that it doesn't destroy the water, the banks of the water pan. So this is one of the projects we were supported by WSA Africa, and we are doing it in Daraka. Farmers were involved. They are very, very excited about it. We're in the process of implementing. Now, then we move on to the next one. The key lessons. What have we learned? One is that we need to be very passionate. It's not something that you have to be very passionate. You have to be very open to learning. You have also to learn from other people. What have the people been doing about this? And then we try to join our knowledge together. And then we start now spreading up this best practice of only water in the landscape. The other thing is we also need to teach by showing and learn by doing. The last one is mobilizing and organizing, linking farmers. I think the purpose here really is not to work with isolating farmers. We want farmers to learn, then they can pass this information to other farmers. WSA Africa want to create a huge movement of farmers working together, holding hands together, and they try to increase the water owning in the landscape. And we have also seen that when you involve the communities very well, adequately, and you include them in decision-making process, then you increase the aspect of ownership of the project and also sustainability of the project. This is something that we have seen practically. The last slide is a clarion call. We are saying we need to unite in Africa and join forces with the WSA Africa and its partners to save ourselves, save our water and restore ecosystems. And this is the future of Africa. We cannot let all the soils to be washed away by water, but we have to be united. We have to spread the good practices. The other one is the WSA Africa call to increase water owning is important and urgent. It cannot wait for tomorrow. Waiting for tomorrow, it means we are going to destroy hundreds and hundreds of tons of soil going into the ocean. We are going to destroy thousands and thousands of acres of landscape being destroyed, and food production will be on the decline. The last thing is implement this practice. Start with yourself. We normally tell people start with yourself, extend this to others, And then eventually, we want to see a well-oiled and grounded water school movement of owning water in the continent. Viva Water School Africa, Viva Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zachary. A good overview of what's happening in Kenya and your region. Thank you very much. We could do one thing is either have questions now or all questions later maybe. So next, Walter.
I suggest that we have just questions of clarification on a specific site. Then we can have a bigger discussion after all the presentation. So any specific questions of clarification on RIDEP's presentation, then we can move on maybe a maximum of 3 questions.
So we'll be very happy to respond to questions. Please come in.
And whilst we are having the questions, Tswamba will be getting ready to present next.
Just to clarify also that it is very, very important to involve men and women, particularly women, because they are the ones who are managing our biodiversity. RIDEP has involved women in this project and I would say that they are the ones who are holding this work together. As you can see, in most of the portals, they are the ones who are working on the farm.
Fine. Shall we move on to Swamba? Swamba, all yours.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, I am glad he just mentioned that at the end where the women are involved and the men. So I wanted to just find out, what about the youth in that community? Are they participating fully, or is it very hard? Or do you have any that are willing? So just the youth. That is my question. Thank you.
That is a very important question. Yes, we're involving the youth, although I would say that there are few, but our next strategy now is to make sure that we involve the youth more. They formed a group, and at that time the youth were not very many, but I'm very happy to say that the youth are still there, but we want to increase the involvement in the future of this project because youth are very important. They are the future.
May I ask a question also?
Please, Swamba, go ahead.
So I know some months ago you were mentioning challenge how to seal the bottom of the water ponds to slow down seepage. What is the status now?
The status is that now, since it is raining, there's no way we can be able to do anything about it because we agreed that we shall correct what we call straight stones. We have to buy concrete, cement, and so it is still undone. But we are waiting because now from maybe from May, from June, there will be a dry spell between June and November. That's the time we hope that we shall get money, and then we try to do we finalize the water plan. But right now there's little we have done about it because it is still raining here. But with the time when the water plan dries, then we shall be able to start the work. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So shall we move on, Swamba? The floor is all yours.
Okay. I'll try to share my screen. Okay. Can you see something coming? I think I should be allowed to share first before it comes in. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see the.
You're allowed to share.
Okay, because the button of sharing is not active. I don't know why.
It says all participants who can share. So you're allowed to share, unless if you want to email it to me, and then in the meantime, maybe Walter, you can present, and then I can show your slides.
Okay. So.
Yeah. And also just a reminder to Twamba to introduce himself and his organization.
Okay, I think I can. There's not much text, so I can just share. I have only a few minutes. I can do it orally and share the presentations later on, because it's not made of slides. It's a Word document and some photos. So if you don't mind, I just talk and then I will share the text later on.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So I think it's not something new I will share, because we have been talking about it for, we talked about it in at least 4 or 5 meetings. And we also shared the documentation related to this. So Groundswell International, for those who did not attend the previous meeting, it's a partnership of local NGOs working in several countries, including Senegal, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Ghana here in West Africa, and other countries in the world. But my work will be about Burkina Faso and Mali. And Mali and Burkina Faso are the driest countries in our intervention zone in West Africa. It's a Sahelian zone where the rainfall pattern is very difficult. So usually people get less than 700 millimeter per year, and because of the rainy season pattern is no more reliable, sometimes you can't say when it starts and when it ends. And during the same rainy season, you can get drought followed by flood or vice versa. And usually at the end, they complain to have been shortage of 1 or 2 rains that will have helped their crop grow correctly. And this is where Water School Africa initiative is a good response, because it's teach people or raise their awareness how to collect and use rainwater to grow crops, and also to recharge water table, so that the natural resources be well fed in the future for better living standard for people. And so we had 2 models of intervention. In Burkina Faso, people decided just to dig water pits in their farms, so that in case of drought, they can irrigate at least a small plot to not lose all their crops. In Mali, they decided to put stone barriers and with cement to slow down water flow in a lowland to allow them to grow rice. And in Burkina Faso, we did 2 things. One is sensitization and training people on how to dig the pits. And the second one is to organize learning and sharing around these initiatives through various activities. And at the end, people in Burkina Faso were very happy with the initiative because they were able to irrigate a plot compared to another plot that was not irrigated. So they saw the difference and they were able to grow vegetable during the rainy season, which was not possible in the given area. And they were able to raise money more than what they could have had with the cereals. And thanks to that, many farmers are now trying to do the same. At least 30 farmers declared that they are also interested in doing it. And yesterday I discussed with the ANSD, our in-country partners, and he said more than 10 farmers started already digging their own plot. Last year it was 10, this year 10 additional people, and while other people are asking for support, maybe by the end of the year it will be more than that, but we'll see. 10 days ago, I was in Mali and I saw the infrastructure they built there, and where they grow rice in 4 hectares. And they were so pleased that now they extended the stone barriers so that in the coming rainy season, they will be able to grow rice in 7 hectares. So for me, these are signs that it was positive and people are pleased to be part of it and are excited when people decide to extend their work. When other people are asking to join the movement, I think it's a sign that it was positive. And lastly, I will say there's following the exchange visit in Burkina Faso, one NGO working not very far from the same place decided to liaise with our partners so that they make a joint application to implement it in several villages, and the application was sent to another research organization called McKnight Foundation, and they are waiting for the response. So these 3 levels of intervention are a sign that it is very positive and created enthusiasm. So that's, I would say. Now the challenges, I think it's just about means for, material. Some farmers do not have the material for digging, and others do not have labor. You may be a farmer wanting to do it, but you don't have enough labor to help dig, and so on and so on. But thankfully, through the budget we got, we were able to give toolkit to villages interested so that they use it there. It's not enough, but at least they were able to start. And they also use traditional way of solidarity, going to one farmer and to support 10 or 20 people going to help one farmer dig or do its work. So that also helped a lot. But anyway, that's the situation now. And I think in terms of perspective, we will continue sensitizing farmers in collecting and managing rainwater, develop also water hubs for people to see what it looks like and how it works, organize exchange visits for farmers and NGOs, especially field staffs, also engage decision makers to invest in the initiative and document and share widely for interested world to replicate at large scale. So I will stop there. In case there's some question, I can further explain or deepen. Sorry, I was not able to share what I prepared, but as soon as we finish, I will attach it through email for you to see. Thank you. I can't hear you.
Thank you, Swamba. Yeah, that's good. It'll if you know, it leads to a discussion in any case in terms of what really the kind of changes that can happen. You know, it's already a lot of work in agriculture and farming going on, but what that focus on water, how that can change that perception of you know, bringing more water so that more farming can happen, and how it can spread between the communities. So that's really well brought out in your region. Would anybody have any burning questions at this point before we move on to Walter?
Yeah, maybe before the question, your comments raised an idea in my mind. Before this project, people use, in fact, it was not a habit for people to use rainwater to irrigate their crop. Sometimes you see drying farms close to a stream where they have water, but the idea of irrigating was not there. And other people use to dig small ponds for the animals to drink, but not irrigating their crops. So the new idea this project brought to the community also is that we should not wait the water to come from the sky. If the water is underground or unsurface water can also be used to irrigate during the rainy season, because during the dry season, people know that they can use dam to cultivate vegetable, but for cereals during the rainy season, it's new. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody? Okay. Shall we move on then, Walter?
Thank you, Minnie. Yeah, thanks to the earlier presenters. My name's Mugobe Walter Nyika. I am working with the regional schools and colleges permaculture program, ReScope in short. We a network of schools and colleges permaculture programs in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, Kenya, and Uganda. And for the partnership with WSA Africa, we have been working with a community in southern Zambia, Hanamunga community, which is on the edge of the Zambezi escarpment in the driest part of Zambia, driest region of Zambia. And my presentation will be
Oh no, Walter dropped off. Shall we wait for him to join in? Ah, there he is. Walter, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Yes, we can watch the video, and then after the video, I'll make a few comments. So the video is from the Hanamunga community that I've been talking about, showing the water holding work that the community has been doing. And so after the video, I'll make a few comments, then we can have a discussion afterwards. So if you are ready with the video, we can have it, Minnie.
Yeah. Can everybody see and hear? Was that all
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Is there a volume?
No.
It seems we can't get the volume, Minnie.
That's the maximum volume. Hold on. Let me see if we can. Okay, 1 minute. There is another bit here. Is that better? Was that better?
No, we can't hear it yet. I think you have to play video with sound. You have to check that box when you share
All
it
right,
in
okay.
Zoom.
So
I always forget.
where do I do that?
So when you get your sharing screen,
Yeah.
to select the video, there's a little box in the sort of bottom left-hand corner that says play with
Right.
sound or something like that.
Right. Wait, Philip, could you help, please? Yes, this can go here.
You might need to stop sharing and then try again. And as you get that share screen, there's a funny little
Right.
button, a checkbox
Right.
or something.
Okay, so if I do share screen.
And then it should say share with sound or
Oh, yeah,
something.
share with sound. Here we go.
Yeah, cool.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sure.
Right. And then I'll play it from the beginning again so that we can. Is that here? Is that coming?
Yes.
Can everybody hear?
Yes, I can.
After the river had dried up in Hanamonga village, the people have realized that there is still another way in which they can able to solve this kind of a problem. They came up with a lot of methods of wanting to bring the water and return it to this land. Because of that, Cosmas had a lot of things and a lot of practices in his area to see to it that the water is returned. Here is his story.
The water is coming from the stream direct to my garden. It's now full. Okay, now it's full. The trenches are now full. Now taking the water to the big dam. Okay, go with me and see what is happening to the big dam. The trenches are all full now. Okay, remaining with one here. Water is still coming. Okay, not yet here. Okay, the water comes from the stream just direct there and enters my garden, direct into the trenches. As you can see, the trenches are now full. The water are moving around the trenches. As As you can see, you go through. Look at this. This is how I designed my garden with water harvest system here in Zambia, in Hanamonga village. So I'm waiting for the water to reach this part here, the big dam. The water is just entering slowly. What a surprise. Today we received a lot of rainfall in Hanamonga village. Look at this. My trenches are full now of water. The water is just flowing to my trenches. Look at this, the water is just coming, the trenches are now full. Water is now filling the holes here. Look at this. The big dam is now lacking water here.
This documentary was brought to you with the compliments of ReScope Network in conjunction with Water Schools Africa, and it was produced by Ubuntu Learning Center.
Thank you very much, Minnie, for showing that. We had some, I think, issues with the sound there, but this video was taken this last January when the rains were just starting, and Cosmas is one of the young people in this community who has really taken water harvesting seriously. So just case study of one young person, but the community are also working together to build gabions and the small dams across the streams that run through the village. So this is a sample of the work that is happening in this community. Thank you for your attention. I think we can have some questions and discuss.
Maybe what I can add over here is that that was the Hanamunga community in Zambia. We have a fourth core partner in the Water School Africa called the Muonde Trust in Zimbabwe. And, you know, till they usually have a very huge challenge in terms of the internet, in terms of network. And so they may or may not be able to join. But after a couple of questions for Walter, maybe one of us will say something about the work we saw when we met in October at their trust and what we saw, you know, what they had done in terms of their farmers, the various different farmers. And then we can open it out. So any questions for Walter, please? Based on the video and the what Walter's just spoken?
No, so how often, when he was showing that garden full of water that was nourishing all the plants, how often does it rain?
Thank you, Philip. So in the Hanamunga communities in the driest region of Zambia, and the rainfall ranges between 400 and 600 millimeters per year. And it's quite unreliable most years. So it doesn't rain that often. So actually, at the end of the video, Cosmas was saying that there is no water in this big dam. So throughout the month of January, when it rained, there was not enough water to fill all his rainwater harvesting structure. So it was just the ditches that got full, but the dam remained empty. So it doesn't rain that often in Anamonga. So it is very important there to maximize on holding water into the ground. And that's what they have started doing on a serious note.
And was he able to grow things despite that it didn't rain much this year?
Yes, indeed. As a result of the rainwater harvesting, he managed to grow. I think we saw some bananas in the video, but he also grew cassava, and he even had some maize harvest from that area. So yeah, he did manage to grow some things and to make a harvest in spite of the generally dry drought season that they had this year. So he has been growing quite a number of crops, including fruits and seasonal crops like maize, groundnuts, cowpeas, beans. They managed to get some harvest of this.
May I?
Yes, please.
Okay. To follow up Philip's question, because he spoke my mind a bit about the drought that was general in this area, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and other countries in your place. I saw this guy was able to grow something to eat, and it was very green. But I know he was not alone implementing this. What about the others in general? I know the success will not be the same everywhere, but at least those who are involved and those who are not in, will you comment in terms of comparison? Those who are doing and those who are not yet involved in this process, neighboring the same farmers. What will be your comment?
Thank you very much. That's a very important question. So it's not in terms of the individual farms. It's not all the households that have made a start on this. But I said earlier on that as a community, they are working together to build check dams across the stream. So this they are doing together. Then, but in addition to this, we have had a very good experience of young people and women taking the lead in terms of doing this work on their individual farms. So apart from Cosmas, there are some other young men and also some women who have started this work on their individual farms. So we have had women and youth taking the lead, and hopefully this will encourage the other farmers to join in. So there's been a very promising start led by the women and youth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So maybe I'll give a small update on the work of the Muonde Trust, since they're not able to make it. I don't see them over here. And then we can open it up for discussion on some of the issues that arise out of why the focus on water and how we are hoping that communities will take up more and more of this work. So last year in October, we had the very first all partners meeting in person of the Water School Africa, all the core partners who were part of year one. And we decided to all meet at the Muonde Trust Center in Majiva district in Zimbabwe, and traveled together from, we arrived at different points. And it was really, while we'd been talking to each other and working and planning and doing, putting ideas into motion over the whole year. So it in one sense, it felt as if we've known each other forever, and yet it was the very first physical meeting between all of us. And it was immediately very clear, coming to the Muonde Trust Center and seeing the kind of work that they were doing, that we were all engaged with that focus on water, and that the example of that was so clear at what Muonde Trust has been doing. And if most of you may know, of course, that the Muonde Trust came out of, is now being led by Abraham Ndlovu and Daniel and Emmanuel, but it came out of the passion and inspiration of Zephaniah Phiri to hold the water in the landscape. So when we arrived over there, what we saw that Muonde has already been doing this since the 1980s, but one of the things they discovered was that not many farmers were taking it up during that time, from the 80s and 90s. And there'd be some interest, some farmers would do a little bit of work, but the thought that if it's in a dry area, and that, if the rain is falling and there is a way to hold the water, and the trust was showing it, surely everybody would want to take up and do the work. And somehow that wasn't happening. And then in recent times, they started doing a little bit of more focus on that water holding, and finding some farmers around them had started learning, and they were spreading it. They started doing it on their farms, and then from them other farmers were beginning to learn. So what really happened I think in the year spent as part of Water School Africa, that focus, that the network of communities that were already focusing on holding water in the landscape, and that they were learning from each other, not just in Zimbabwe, but in different countries in Africa, is beginning. That gave some kind of momentum to the work that was happening over there. So when we arrived, there was a World Food Day celebration going on, and there were about 100 farmers in the room. And, the discussion was around, I think it was an FAO thing that around water and leaving no one behind. And so that whole field visit, when we went to see what Muonde had been doing in terms of actually the different kinds of pits, the contour trenches, and using the A-frame on their trust land itself, in the year they had done another 4 such structures, if I have my memory right. And that itself was getting a lot of local farmers coming in and seeing, look at these structures that are beginning to hold the water. I can do it on my farm. And then we were there for 3 days, and each of the days we went to see a different farm, a different farmer, and what are the different structures that they were doing to hold the water. So what comes out so clearly is that if you want to do farming, you have to hold the water. In dry areas, you have to hold that water. And there is no one way of doing it. It depends on the contours, it depends on your culture, it depends on the, what you know from your ancestors, what are the modern ways of doing it. It depends on also a lot of common sense, that if you hold the water, you hold the water where the stream, the water aggregates, the flow of the water goes, then you build a water holding structure over there. And then it depends on the rocky area. One of the farms that had learned a few years ago from Muonde Trust was in an extremely rocky area. There were these gigantic rocks which were scattered over the whole farm. And it was very interesting to see how the water was now being collected in the depressions of the rock itself. And then that water was being channeled around the farm. And that water from the rock pool would be channeled into trenches, which would go downhill to the further reaches of the farm. And then the farmer was growing bananas in the trenches. So there was no space left empty, and yet there was no space there was ample space for water to be held in different ways along the farm. And that was all the impact of the kind of thinking that Muonde Trust has been trying to inculcate over the years, in terms of every farmer needs to hold water on the land. I'll mention one more example that we saw. Often the question comes is that, is it only organic farming, or is it only farmers of a particular kind who practice water holding structures, or looking at holding the water, or is it only farmers, in a particular sensibility, who think of this? But actually not true. One of the farms we went to was a wonderful farm, a very warm family. They were doing farming, which with a lot of, they were doing normal, what is not organic farming, but chemical-based farming. And yet, it was a farmer who understood that no matter how many fertilizers he uses, he still needs water on the farm. So what we say about holding water, harvesting, rainwater harvesting, harvesting the water that falls on the ground, is that it does not matter what kind of farming you're doing. We're not trying to, that is entirely up to the farmer. But what's really important is that if you want your land to be lush, you must not let the water that falls on it run away. You must hold as much of it as possible. And the success of that actually is not far back in your own memories. That's what communities say. We remember our father, our grandfather, doing that kind of work. So why have we forgotten it today? So that brings, into sharp focus really why Water School Africa is slowly beginning to, spread into different countries. What is the reason behind setting it up? And it's a really very, very simple, vision that communities know what to do, and if they don't know what to do, they can learn from each other, from other successful communities. And the need of the hour is, no matter what kind of farming you practice, if you want to farm, if you want food grown in your backyard, if you want your land to be lush and green, you have to hold the water that falls from the sky. And that is very local, specific to your land, your landscape, and your culture. And if it's successful, you can share it with others. So that's what we're trying to do through Water School Africa. And eventually different countries will have their own ways of doing this, but spreading it from community to community. So I'm going to stop here. So we can see that, all our four core partners in their own way have been testing out how they can bring that focus of water within their communities and how they can hold more water and what the success of that is. And then there were different ways and means that they've been testing out how they can spread that learning and the take up of that learning between other farmers and other landholders in their communities and regions. So, would any of our partners like to add to that? Swamba, Walter, or Zachary? Have I sort of managed to cover what Muonde have been doing? Or if there was anything else, Philip, if there's anything else you would like to add to this? And then we can open the floor for discussion, any questions that arise or thoughts or reflections.
Yes, thank you, Minnie. Just to add that Muonde in Zhishavane district, Mazhiwa is the communal area, which is under Zhishavane district in Midlands province of Zimbabwe. But yes, you have described their work well. Thank you.
Thank you for that correction, Walter.
Me, I was impressed. Sorry. I was impressed by seeing them grow fruit trees at a place where I didn't think it would be possible. But I know it's because the trenches they dug there that allow the water to go through and enter the roots. It's at their headquarters, just the eastern part of the polytank they have. We saw a slopy place where they dug trenches, at least 2 or 3, and between the trenches they were able to plant mango trees, and I think also guava and different fruit trees that I don't know the names. And they also have a tomatoes vegetable plot, including tomatoes. And during a period where it was not raining. So I think it was very, very inspirational, at least for me, because I am in a very dry areas where teachers used to say in school and colleges that the main export product of Burkina Faso is water, because we share we export our water to Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Niger, and we don't have left for ourselves. So it's through this project, I think we will be able to retain some of the water, not to share with everybody and not have anything for ourselves. And it will be very, very important change if we are able to put it at very large scale. And yes, I was very pleased to be at Muonde's place, because yes, the topography is not the same as in Burkina Faso and Mali, because here everything is flat. And but yes, we can take something, adapt to our own areas, and we'll still have something more thing to eat. So yes, I will thank you for the opportunity to be there, and I'm eager to see our farmers to go there and see what is happening there, so that they also have be able to see it by their own eyes, and I'm sure they will have different inspiration. And when they come back, I can't say 100% of them will do something, but most of them will change behavior on way of seeing things. Thank you.
I think I can also give some input. I was very impressed by what I saw in Muonde, because we visited a family who they have actually, they hold water on their farm, and this water is able to stand a long period. They are using the water up to the long dry period. For me, that was very, very challenging, because they hold the water, then they start using the water immediately, and you could see that they are still surviving. So it also increases the farmer resilient, because of holding the water, they can continue making use of the water instead of every time relying on the rainwater. So that was amazing.
Thank you, Zachary.
Yeah. No, and I think Muonde is an amazing example of an area where it could be arid and with hardly anything growing, but because of this work that's happened almost at a regional scale, because they've been at it for 40 or 50 years since Zephaniah Phiri started the work, you can see what's possible, that you can actually do this work at a much bigger scale than just the individual community. So it's really a kind of pivotal example of how this work can have an impact at a much larger scale if it's able to happen across many communities and farms.
Thank you, Philip. I guess one of the impressions I went away with is feeds into what we really are trying to attempt with the Water School Africa, is that learning of water holding, of understanding of holding water in the landscape and regenerating your landscape, that sharing and learning can happen in the community from farmer to farmer, and between the communities and community to community. And how do you enable that to happen organically, but also in a concentrated manner so that it doesn't fall through the cracks? And seeing that happening at Muonde, with the various farmers around, and hearing our other partners in terms of what they've just described, and hearing from them in other conversations, that focus on water is beginning to get people thinking, oh, we already know we can do this, and why are we not holding the water? And then that conversation that begins to spread within their own communities, and that sharing and learning from each other. So it's not something new, it's something that exists, which we might have forgotten, which is bringing it back. So I'm going to stop here. If anybody has any comments, reflections, questions, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. Yes, Marie.
Hello,
nice to
Min.
see you.
Hello,
Nice
everyone.
to see you.
Nice to see you too. I just want to say hi first. It has been quite long. I didn't participate. I don't know what happened, but sometime I didn't receive an invitation. So I'm glad that this time I got the invitation. And I'm also really happy to see that the project which was being planned during my time there, it's now at the end, and a presentation from everybody is great. So I want to congratulate all the partners. Congratulations to RIDEP, to Muonde, to everyone. Actually, I'm really happy to hear from your presentation, and I was really very impressed to see the video from ReScope. I'm really happy for what you are doing, and I wanted also to let you know that the knowledge I acquired during my stay is not far. I'm still using it. We have been also cleansing the big tank with my brothers. One day I will show you. Yeah, thank you so much for the work you are doing and the knowledge you are sharing with people through online sessions. Congratulations once again to everybody, including you, Min, your efforts, and Philip. And my greetings to John. I don't see him here. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Marie. What I want to say is once you're part of the water school family, whether in real, in physical, in heart, soul, you can't escape. Water holding and water touches all of us. So thank you very much. Margaret, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I love being able to join the water school because it's just so inspiring. And I think today, particularly, to be able to join the meeting today was a really good choice because it was so nice to hear the stories of what's actually happening. One of the things that I think struck me in your sort of summing up what you saw in when you actually all met is that classic case of feeling like you know everybody and then you actually meet each other in person, and it's always so exciting. But I think my sense is that we've forgotten to really acknowledge Indigenous knowledge. It's deeply rooted in Africans. We are storytellers by nature. That's our culture. We tell each other things. And there seems to have been over years a separation into your knowledge isn't quite right, or, science and university and papers and peer-reviewed knowledge is better. And so it's so interesting to see actual physical evidence that that's being, in a sense, not disproved, but there's an acknowledgement that actually we do know how to do this. Our grandparents could do this. Our parents sort of remember doing this when they were growing up. Let's reclaim, not in any other way other than for building a strong community, what we know. And it's so nice to hear that that is being acknowledged in the work that Water School Africa does, and then obviously into other spaces where decision makers can hear the lessons and the learning and the ups and the downs from people who actually live the experience. Because I think often we go in, we do research, we extract everything, and then that's it. We publish a paper. As an academic, you get the kudos, and the people that actually do the work are, in a sense, forgotten about. So I think this is amazing. And I've just had another look at your website, and I'm very excited about the continuing work that you're doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Margaret. In fact, I am hearing you speak and I'm thinking I must have had a conversation, because that is really what we say, that the knowledge, learning, the wisdom is there in the communities. And unfortunately, what happens is it gets written about and the community gets forgotten. The community voice gets forgotten, and it's the voice of that paper that then speaks. So our attempt with water schools, not just Water School Africa, there's also Water School India and other water schools, is the voice of the community, of the local community, in staking the claim to that wisdom and doing more and more of it, rather than feeling disempowered or feeling as if somebody needs to tell them what to do. They know what to do. All we need to do is create the conditions for them to do it and to share that knowledge with each other and do more of it. And then, of course, when people come and write the papers, there's an equal exchange rather than this one-way street that's going on at the moment. So I see another hand up. Rufaro, please go ahead.
Hi, Minnie. Thank you so much. I'm really enjoying this discussion, and I only have a question. Do our partners face any challenges? If they do, what is it that we can do to help them in solving the challenges that we'll be facing as a group?
I'm sorry, I missed that. Could you repeat your question? It was very faint. Could you speak a little loudly, Rufaro?
All right, I guess I'm having network problems. I was saying, do our partners face any challenges? If they do, is there something as a group that we can do to help them to overcome those challenges?
Yes, if I can come in. Thank you, Rufaro, for the question. Yes, there are challenges in terms of mobilizing communities to do more work together and to get more farmers to participate. That takes time to get all the communities to start doing this work and to be part of the story. And the other challenge is also in terms of documenting the good work that is happening in the communities, and making sure that these stories are accessible to more and more people through creative ways of documenting. So that's something that we need to do more so that we can reach out to more people, and we can have we can empower the communities to become water hubs that are able to freely share their knowledge and skills with the others who are interested. So those are two examples of challenges that we face. Thank you. Other partners might also want to come in with other challenges.
Yeah, maybe another challenge is how can we make the people who are participating in this meeting also be part, because you are part of us now. Can you, since you are part of us, I know you are part of WSA Africa, can you now try to spread the good news, tell people about what we are doing, so that they can become more interested in owning water in the landscape? Because it is something that we all must do. And when I see the number of people here, if we probably tell people, 2-3 people, then suddenly this philosophy will continue spreading, and people are going to start they continue doing what we are saying we should do. Thank you.
Thank you.
On our side, I think we have 2, 3, or 4 challenges. One is about labor. The second is about tools. The third is about water seepage. And the fourth is about availability of material and knowledge how to manage the water pits. Concerning the material challenge, one thing we did is to give to village collective tools, so that in case an individual farmer wants to dig his pits, he go there and have some tools to do his work. But we also know that a lot of farmers in the communities, may have mean to buy the tools and do, but they didn't have the ideas. Once the toolkit is there, it will give other farmers who already has some mean to buy it, to do it. Second, about the labor. Traditionally, people used to ask for support from their neighbors to cultivate, to weed their farms. So this is the same idea they used in our place here, to ask neighbors to come and help dig their ponds, or to put the stone barriers so that they can help each other in turns, and it helps alleviate the burden of the work. Third one, about the water seepage. That one depends on the structures of your soil. If it's a clay soil, it's easy. If it's not, if it's sandy soil, it's or gravel, then the seepage is high. While in our place, yeah, the recharge of water table is very important, relevant. But if they don't, they cannot gain additional benefits like cropping. It will be not that much motivating. So we need to have both. It should increase agricultural yield while recharging. So this is why we need to find ways of slowing down the seepage while still allowing it. We should not block completely the water from seeping, but we need to slow it so that people can get something to irrigate their crops in case of drought, and also still allow the water sinking. So on that area, there we organize training on where and how to build the water ponds, and also how to collect stones and other materials to add a bit quantity of cement to pave the bottom of the work, the infrastructure, so that slow down seeping. The remaining challenge is about the stones, because not every place has enough material, and even when it's there, you need to have truck or donkey cart or other means of transportation to bring it there. So this is an unsolved challenge, but I think we may be innovative and find ways of reducing seeping, even in areas where they don't have stones or other means like this to reduce it. So that's what I will say. But finally, we will need to find a way to communicate widely the experience so that many farmers engage in it. It's the only way, according to me, that we will be able to recharge the water table. For production, if one or two, any farmer can experience food production increase, that's easy. But for the water table, you need to have it at large scale, because we don't know where the soil cracks, or to put the water directly there. So we need to put it at very large scale. That's what, and Burkina Faso and Mali are two countries that face insecurity now. So we cannot go at different places where we wanted to go. And we know that the innovation is needed there. So the challenge is, that's the challenge. And what we are thinking of is documenting through videos, and also using radio and other social media to reach more people, even in places where we cannot go. So that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamba. Yes, it's so true. If we want to recharge an entire catchment or a whole water table, then it needs everybody who is living there to be able to do that, do their bit to recharge the whole water table, to hold the water on their land so that that can feed into the water table. And the only way to do that is actually share that wisdom and knowledge in an ever spreading like water. It spreads ever outwards. Anybody else? Any other thoughts or questions? And while I remember, actually, I would really like to say that if anybody is new in the session, if you want to be part of these sessions or have questions as they strike you afterwards, do put in your email in the chat box and we will keep you informed of the sessions as they happen and what's happening in this space. Eventually, there will probably be a newsletter coming out at some point, but do put in your email in the chat and we'll put you onto the group so you will be informed of, you can be informed of all the sessions and events that might be happening around with Water School Africa. So don't forget to do that. Yes, anybody else? We're approaching the 11:30. Our thing is always we keep it for roughly about an hour and a half. So we're approaching the end of our session today. But and I might just say at this point is that we've had 1 year of Water School Africa testing out different programs, different ideas, and these are baby steps. It's a start. Nothing was set in stone. We didn't really understand what would work and what would not, and that kind of understanding can only come when the community responds. So if the community responds to a particular idea or thought, or they come up with the ideas and thoughts, and that's successful, then those are the things that make a school strong. And that kind of sharing, those are the things that need to be shared widely over as time comes. So the first year of Water School Africa with wonderful 4 partners, ground partners, testing out in their communities with their wisdom, their knowledge, has uncovered a few things. And as we go into years 2 and 3, we'll build on that. And the challenge is always, how do you get communities to engage in this work more and more? If you're on the front line of starvation or drought or flood, what keeps crowding your mind is the challenge that you're facing with that. And holding the water can actually alleviate some of that. So that's the kind of thinking that we want happening more and more, that we want the baby steps to become slightly stronger as we grow, and more people to join into Water School Africa, and so that it becomes a ground level movement from community to community to community, really holding water on the land and recharging entire catchments and water tables across the continent of Africa. That's the long-term vision, and hopefully we're taking steps towards that. So if you know of anybody who's already doing successful water holding work, or you know of people who want to, don't hesitate to write in. I've put in an email in the chat, and don't hesitate to reach out and be in touch. And I think we're at the close of this session almost. If any last words from anybody would like to say anything before we close the session for today?
Yes, I wanted to appeal to all of us that when we have just a meeting, we need to spread it, because we are networked in very many ways. We have many links. So in the future, I also promise I will be sending this email to as many people as possible, so that the people who are in this meeting can be many. I think it's good if all of us, like water, you have a lot of linkages, all of us, we can be able to be part of the solution, so that many people hear what we are saying, because these things, they are rare, but they are also very important. Thank you.
No, and just to say that, with climate change and this changing weather everybody's experiencing, there's usually either a despair, oh, we can't do anything about it, or these COP meetings with huge solutions for rectifying it. But what we're trying to do in Water School Africa is just to learn from ground level steps. So year 1 has created this dialogue with communities and the partners? And how do we learn from that about what might be the next step? So it's not trying to get to a solution in one go and feeling desperate that it doesn't work, but how can we learn from what we're doing in meetings like this, where we reflect on what's happened in order to see ways forward, both nationally, internationally, that can arrive at a different behavior in relation to the planet and the land that can be viable in relation to the challenges and limitations that we're facing at the moment. So it's a really good process that we're on, and really thanks to all the partners for being so good at doing this process of action and reflection.
Thank you, Philip.
If I may.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, please go ahead.
I'd like to thank you for this insight into the work being done by your ground partners. I was particularly impressed by Zachary and what he's doing under RIDEP. I remember his huge energy when he was with SACTEP, and now to see that he's taken this energy into making a community center, not unsimilar to our own. I was very impressed by that. But generally, thank you very much for this insight.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. I can remember that is Rob Sacco. I truly admire his work, what he's doing out there in the, is it Timani or somewhere in the mountains?
Well, we've had one of the presentations from Rob, yes, and it's there on the Water School site, and we're hoping to have another one at some point soon. Yes, Rob, sorry I interrupted you.
No, I was just responding to Zachary.
Please.
And remembering him very well.
Well, so keep up the good work. Keep up the good work you are doing there. We admire it also because I often get it. I mean, you are doing very good up there in the mountains.
Thank you. Thank you. And you.
So lots of wisdom in the room and lots of momentum and very good intention and heart and feeling to have this focus on water become clearer and clearer. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll come up with an exciting program for the coming year soon. We're working on it, and we'll let you know as and when that program's, but you know, we've got the sessions organized, and we'll send an email around to everybody. And if there's anybody who you think would need to be joined, would like to join and is not on the session today, do send their email across and we'll put them into the group and keep them informed. But in the meantime, thank you for attending, and go well, be well, and see you soon again.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, everyone.